children or your friends have children, understand feeding them pre-processed, chemically laden food is abuse, because you're taking away that person, and that your child is a person. You're taking away their ability to intuitively know what they should eat as an adult. And forever you're harming them. Forever they are crippled. Forever they are going to be needing the system to survive, because if they don't know what to eat and how to be healthy and to understand what their body's needs are, they are going to do a lot of things wrong, and they're going to have to access the healthcare system. And our healthcare system isn't a healthcare system. Okay? It's a money transfer system.
We almost need to do an entire show on the healthcare system, because I'm really, really frustrated by it too. That's a whole nother matter. I'm ready to quit mine because the price keeps going up. I've never used the thing. I thought, I like the concept of taking responsibility for myself, and I take responsibility for myself in the form of the food I put into my body and so forth. I've never had to use it. But at the same time, I'm seeing now that I'm paying for everyone else that isn't taking care of their body, and consequently the prices keep going up and up and up every single year, regardless of whether I'm consuming it into that system or not. So
yeah, we have a really failed healthcare system, and we just keep overlaying. It's like when you're a farmer and you've got an area that isn't working good. You just don't keep trying to grow things there over and over again. You don't just bring in more soil. If you look at the old papaya literature, one of the techniques that the university used to grow papayas was you went into an area that was never grown, virgin soil, and you fill your hole up with that, so at least your trees get a start. So they understood what virgin soil was, but instead of trying to fix the whole field, instead of trying to fix the nutrition problems, instead of trying to decontaminate the field before you try to grow, or to try to grow the food without contaminating it, they would just try to bring in something and fix a little piece of it. Okay, so as a farmer or as a builder, you have something breaking, you don't just add another little support there while the termites are eating out that little part. You actually rebuild that wall.
Right.
And until we start understanding our healthcare system, that it's just been patched here and patched there, it's a direct result of this lousy food that we've had since 1960, 70, or butts, I guess they're laying it on. But I really think it goes back before that. I'd say it goes back to the early 50s, and we start understanding that 60 years now have gone on, 65 years of this degraded food, and we know that GMOs, 3 generations, everyone will be sterile. We know from all the tests that that's coming. That is definitely coming. We see the sterility problems now in this country when you look at the amount of the millions of people that now are getting reproductive help. Which is driving up healthcare costs, because a lot of this reproductive help now is part of the healthcare system. When we look at the graph of the use of chemicals, and we look at the graph of the health problems, when we look at the graph of the cheap food, and we look at the graph of the health problems, we know there's a connection between the food we're eating. When we look at the reduction in the number of people growing food, and we look at the increase in debt, we know there's a connection there. When we look at the people that are now growing the food and how they're not even farmers anymore, they couldn't do it without the technology. They couldn't do it without GPS. They couldn't do it without satellites identifying the diseases in their 50,000 acre fields, because some of these diseases are off the scale. I mean, now we're seeing that tobacco mosaic virus has jumped into the bees. And it's killing the bees. That's right. one of the killings of the bees. Yeah. Turns out that the tobacco mosaic virus, the tobacco plant has been genetically modified. So it's a genetically modified plant that has this piece of a tobacco virus, has horizontally gene transferred now into another virus that now is killing. It's a direct result of the GMO. There's absolutely no... Tobacco is one of the most genetically modified plants out there, I think. So it's just like, what are we looking at here in Hawaii with all of these thousands of acres of genetically modified? What is... And really it comes down to, there was a letter to the editor that I thought was really succinct. And it said, it's a lot cheaper to grow stuff on the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot cheaper if you've got a research facility. Why are they bringing hundreds of people? Because Monsanto and Syngenta and those guys, they don't use anyone really locally. I mean, all the high-priced jobs are all the people from the mainland they have to bring over here. Why are they doing that? Because they realize that if there is a problem, it's just going to be on Molokai. It's
Why
just
Molokai?
going to be on Kauai. Well, that's where they are.
Mm.
They can maybe contain it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're islands.
Yeah.
They know there's a problem. They're hedging their bets. They're not trying to help anybody here in Hawaii. When we see all the diseases, and the whole push on Kauai to begin identifying these chemicals really came out of the healthcare guys. They want to know when things are being sprayed because they're seeing these clusters of diseases. And if they don't know what chemicals are being sprayed and when they're being sprayed, they're blind as to how to treat these poor little children that are being sprayed by chemicals that are drifting over. Literally hundreds of feet away from their school is a field of genetically modified experiments going on. And the healthcare professionals on Kauai, all they wanted was the information so they could treat these children.
Wow.
That's
so
why
they knew it was going to happen, pretty much.
They know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now they're spending millions of dollars going after Kauai to fight this.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because they know that if Kauai can prove it, and we begin to prove it around these islands, and we begin to prove it around the world, we're going to eventually be able to, NSA, which I like the NSA snooping, we're going to force the NSA to reveal internal documents that they've been sharing with each other in their emails and their phone calls. Have the NSA push a button, and let's get all of Syngenta's emails for the last 20 years. Let's get all of Monsanto's emails for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. Let's get all their phone calls for the last 20 years. And I bet you we'll see a criminal conspiracy. Mm-hmm. So they'll spend $100 million to fight the people of Kauai from trying to have some setbacks, from trying to get some acknowledgement as to what chemicals they're using, because they know there's $1 trillion they're going to lose down the line if we ever find out what criminals these people really are. And we're not just talking about criminal. We're talking about everyone that's bought into it. Every paid-off professor at the University of Hawaii. Every pseudo-scientist that's stepped up and has destroyed the careers of how many hundreds of scientists around the world that have just come out saying that GMOs are not safe. I think it was just yesterday, 240 scientists, respected scientists, all signed a document saying GMOs are not proven safe.
Yeah. And the ban of the GMOs on the Big Island, I would assume that creates a control group, which
they don't want to see.
Yeah.
They don't want to see that. But they want to keep the chemicals flowing, though.
Right.
And now we have Josh Green. Kudos to Josh Green. Submitted a bill to begin the people just talking about banning Roundup. And that would send shockwaves.
Yeah.
I think there's 30 countries in the world that abandoned Roundup. Mm-hmm. This is not a hippie dippy thing. These are real scientists around the world have said we don't want this in our backyard anymore. There's literally dozens of countries that banned GMOs. I mean, Ecuador, where my daughter lives, has banned GMOs. Country after country that isn't controlled by this oligarchy that is the Anglo-American conspiracy, this neo-colonial United Nations conspiracy that is forging ahead with world domination by making everybody sick and fearful and hating each other. We have to come together. We have to have gratitude for being on this planet. We have to even be gracious to the people that have made the wrong decisions. I have no hate or really for anybody that wants a job, that has been in denial about working for a company that's possibly polluting everybody, but because they believed their scientists or their professors. I totally understand that. I don't hate these people. But it's time, if you are working for a company like this, it's time for you to make the transition to becoming a citizen of this beautiful, beautiful, wonderful planet. It's time for you to show the guts to start revealing to everybody, and that's what's happening. That's where that's what the whole NSA thing is about. To stop this.
One of my biggest fears surrounding it all is can we reverse the process? I mean, let's say, well, we've already come to where we have, say, on Kauai or Maui.
Thinking about it.
Can we reverse our steps at this point and really turn it around?
Well, I think we have to start. There's thousands of chemicals. Okay, there's hundreds of genetically modified plants probably on these islands. Okay, we can't look at it like that. We have to take it step by step, one chemical at a time, one GMO crop at a time, one company at a time. And we really have to begin focusing on what do we need. I think the first thing we need to do is get all the pesticides that are being sold in our supermarkets, which I think is absurd. All these horrible poisons that are being sold on our supermarket shelves, we have to get them out of the supermarket. At least legally only be sold out of, let's say, registered farming garden stores, registered agricultural entities. I'd like to get them out of those stores also, so those stores become purely organic, because there's so many organic alternatives, so many other ways to farm organic. I've got 20 acres. I'm 66 years old. I think I'm going to have my place back under control. I actually I thought I could have a bunch of people helping me, and I kind of spaced it out, but I'm doing so many different things. But I've almost got it under control. Mac nuts and coffee organically, okay? Weed control everything. I'm using weed burners and weed eaters.